Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to change the landscape of podcasting as you know it in professional wrestling. This is the Game Changer Podcast. Featuring the greatest asset to come out of Canada, the legendary Mr. Fretz.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
I love myself. There's something so condescending to the champ and get out of my ring.
They think they got the answers. I change the questions.
I did it all by my sweet little self. Two-time Slammy Award winner. I knew it. I'm a winner. I did it. Woo!
As well as featuring yours truly, the Game Changer, NateFNGreat.
I've had it! It's time for you to start listening to somebody else, and that somebody else is going to be me, and it's going to be right now!
The dirty secret is you need this generation more than it needs you.
You're not going to come out here and talk about how it should have been you, it should have been me, it should have been you, it should have been you, it should have been you, it should have been you 8 years ago, and it was kind of, then it wasn't, and it's not going to be again, and it's not going to happen. Just get over it!
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary. Nobody can touch me.
We change the game one day at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready, let's do this.
Hey everyone, it's the Princess of Pro Wrestling, SoCal Val. You are listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Sending lots of love from California. Mwah!
And it was at this moment I regret so many life decisions. Welcome to this edition of the Game Changer Podcast. Might as well call it Canadian Stampede Takeover at this point. I am the only American in this deal, NateFNGreat, the paladin of positivity, being first joined here by the administrator of Canada, the ambassador in Canada, just put everything in Canada right here in this context. That being the one and only Mr. Fretz.
This is Mr. Fretz, and we are still closed for business, talking moistly to you all.
What? Jeez Louise. Getting a little bit saucy up there in the Great White North. And we are not being joined alone, ladies and gentlemen. No, because we have another fellow Canadian on here who I've actually been interested in having on the show for a little bit of a while. It's somebody who I could almost consider to be King Ricky's arch nemesis. In all honesty, I haven't had an issue with it, but maybe this podcast will change my mind. He is the one and only Mr. Slack. Slack, how's it going, man?
It is going good. Next year, Wrestle Addict Radio Civil War, me versus Ricky. Whose side are you on?
You know what? I think I want to be on Team Slack just to piss Ricky off.
All right. I'm just going to snap myself out of here. Oh, wow. I'll get the Infinity Gauntlet of the graphic novel that I'm holding right now.
You
because this
did
is not
that
a video
last week
podcast.
when Vincent was on. You cheap bastard.
Yeah, it hasn't left my couch.
Oh my gosh. So guys, this is one of the reasons why we've been doing a lot of these guest deals, is because of the fact that starting next week we are going to have a third member of the Game Changer podcast. And guys, it's somebody you probably know. It's somebody that Wrestling Radio has definitely been dying to hear from. And he will be revealed next week. So, little something to look forward to next week. But for right now, it's 2 Canadians, 1 American. Like I said, I kind of have some regrets right now, but we'll see what happens. But we're going to be giving you guys a special treat because it's Fantasy Warfare 2. Fretz and I did one for WrestleMania about a month ago, and Mr. Slack, he wanted to do something a little bit different to where we kind of keep within the WrestleMania theme, but it's Anarchy in NXT. Basically, we're going from Survivor Series all the way to WrestleMania of next year. Those are the rules. Anything goes. It's going to be absolutely wild, crazy, and wacky, because why the hell not? Because we can. I think that it's only fair that we have the innovator behind this. Mr. Slack, if you would please, why don't you take the reins, start us off with your fantasy booking. How would you book NXT from Survivor Series this year to WrestleMania next year? Hopefully we have crowds.
In a perfect world, we have crowds. Because a lot of this only works if there's a crowd, so good Lord, let there be crowd. So, just for some context before we start, I'm going to list off who all my champions are.
All right.
So that way, it's a bit more, it's more fluid as we move on. So, we have Drew McIntyre still as WWE Champion. We have Angel Garza as the U.S. Champion after winning in a Fatal 4-Way at Clash of Champions.
Very nice.
We have the Street Profits, not still champions, winning it back from the Viking Raiders at SummerSlam. This is begrudging, but it makes sense for later on. Shayna Baszler is Raw Women's Champion. She won it from Becky at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And I know that sounds a little weird considering what's actually happening with Shayna being in the match, but I've taken that into account. So, our Universal Champion is Roman Reigns after beating The Fiend at SummerSlam. I don't know how I feel about him being The Fiend, but I have The Fiend only near the end of this, so it's not a big deal for me. This one, I don't know why I went with it, but I have Drew Gulak as IC Champion. Yes!
I support this.
I have him winning in a triple threat match at Clash of Champions, kind of similar to Angel Garza. Tag Champions, I have Usos winning it from the New Day at Clash of Champions. I have Sasha Banks beating Bayley at SummerSlam in a Falls Count Anywhere match. That's how I write Bayley out of this story. Just because I wanted Bayley, but I couldn't find room,
Fair enough.
Okay, so now for Money in the Bank contracts, Becky Lynch is the women's contract holder. And it's gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense.
Okay.
You know what? I'll give you the context now. So, I couldn't think of anybody that I would really like to see. Well, that's not true. I wanted Liv Morgan to have the case in a perfect world, but I couldn't figure. I didn't see her having big matches with anybody from NXT. So what I have happening is Shayna Baszler is pulling double duty. She's in a one-on-one match with Becky for the Women's Championship, and she's also in the Money in the Bank match. So the women's title match is first. It opens the show. And Shayna wins in that match with the Kira Fuda clutch driver thing to choke. And then the women's match closes, the women's Money in the Bank closes the show, and Becky attacks Shayna and takes her place and wins the Money in the Bank. But she attacks her she pulls the Brock Lesnar. She comes out near the end of the match, screws out Shayna, and then takes the case for herself. Because I feel like that would really rejuvenate Becky's character, because her character's gone really stale. Like, which I hate to say, but because I love Becky Lynch. And just for some good old-fashioned heel heat, King Corbin has Money in the Bank. Now, looking quickly at NXT, I have Velveteen Dream, where none of the shit that's happened recently has happened in this booking.
Fair.
Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. I have him beating Adam Cole at Survivor Series TakeOver.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Cole's going to hold it for a long time. North American champion is Finn Balor after beating Keith Lee at SummerSlam TakeOver.
Damn.
This one is just for me, because I love this team. I have the Broserweights still champion up till SummerSlam, until they lose to the grizzled young veterans.
Ooh.
Yes! I love the grizzled young veterans, so I have them in a big storyline for this thing. Women's champion, Candice LeRae, after beating Charlotte at SummerSlam. Okay, so now that we've said all that, I'll start the actual booking.
Ding.
So I'm starting the night after Survivor Series, the Raw after. NXT didn't win a single match at Survivor Series. They got blanked. And not like dirty, clean. Every single match was a clean loss for NXT. So, I have Stephanie McMahon back on TV for this. So she's the authority figure on Raw. And she comes out and she's like, NXT was a one-off last year, a Cinderella story, ba-ba-da-ba-da. Like all that garbage, right?
Spot on Stephanie impression.
Thank you. So, this one is just because I've seen it done before and I really like it. NXT stars start appearing in the crowd, but it's not like there's like, oh, look who's in attendance tonight. It's NXT champion, Velveteen Dream. It's not like that. It's like, hey, wait, is that? No. That's Johnny Gargano. In like row 15 with some dude, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they never attack anybody, and, you know, like, they're seen backstage in the background, they're seen in the crowd, maybe not even focused on, but they're there. But they never attack anybody. So, we skip ahead to TLC. And NXT has no presence on the show whatsoever. Nobody is seen, nobody is talked about, nothing. Until we get to the main event. The main event of TLC is Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles in a TLC match. Yeah, oh yeah. I have the Undisputed Era attacking both men and ruining the match. The match gets thrown out, no contest, because neither guy can continue. I know.
Nice.
But isn't that nuclear heat for the Undisputed Era?
It is. Better heat
because
than...
everyone that loves NXT is a purist, and it's like every match has to have an ending. Like when Hell in a Cell is a no contest, look what happened last year.
Yeah.
Right, with Seth and the Fiend. So, at the Raw after, Drew McIntyre opens the show and he calls out the Undisputed Era. They make a point of mentioning that security has been heightened, like all the doors are sealed, like barricaded, all that stuff, right? And only Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish appear and talk to Drew and just say, like, whatever. Later on, Kevin Owens is attacked and injured by Adam Cole. So I'm writing Kevin Owens out for a bit. The main event is Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles versus Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Undisputed Era wins after AJ and Drew can't work together. And AJ eats the pin after the high-low thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So then the rest of the Undisputed Era comes in, Cole and Strong, and they start beating down both guys. But then members of the main roster start running down to the ring. But then all of NXT jumps the barricade. Like, everybody in NXT jumps the barricade. And it's a Nexus-like takeover to close Raw.
Yeah.
They beat the piss out of everybody. Cole eats it. Everyone eats it. Whoever's the commentator. We have plants in the crowd where they beat up audience members.
Damn.
So all that goes down. And again, the match ends in no contest. And so now there's no one talking. Like, the arena is silent, right? When suddenly we hear this.
Oh, crap.
Oh.
And Triple H walks down to the ring. Big smile on his face. Just such a big smile. He gets in the ring. All of his NXT guys surround him. He grabs the mic and he leans into the ropes. And he says this. Did you really think NXT was going to take what you said lying down? This isn't brand warfare. This isn't a bunch of rookies trying to make a name for themselves. This is an invasion. And Raw cuts to black. So now we go to SmackDown, and it opens with Roman Reigns calling out NXT for what they did on Raw. He's like, these boys, they want to play with the big leagues. And then we hear this music. And Keith Lee comes out to the ring. And he says, Keith Lee just appears in the crowd wearing a Roman Reigns t-shirt. That's just a little hint that it's going to be Keith Lee. Lee doesn't say anything. He just looks at Roman with that big old smile on his face. Again, NXT stars appear in the crowd all night, but no one is attacked until the end of the show closing with Roman Reigns found attacked. Because what's better than having a babyface found attacked backstage in a whodunit? So, 2 weeks before the Royal Rumble, on Raw, Adam Cole sends in a video saying that NXT is going to take the week off. No one in NXT is going to be on Raw or SmackDown. They're taking the week off. Adam Cole says, I just want to thank our friend for leaving the door open. And they reference the friend a lot. So there's someone on the main roster who's helping NXT.
Mystery.
And it starts a lot of conspiracies. Is it a former NXT guy? Is it a new signing? Is it a secret call-up? Who's leaving the door open?
Is it R-Truth?
And, oh, yeah. Is it Jon Moxley? We don't know. So...
it's Rikishi.
At some point in the show, Cole will say there's a traitor, or Tom Phillips, whoever the lead is on Raw at the time. They will say there's a traitor amongst us. The question on everyone's mind is who let NXT in. So the main roster tries to do to NXT what NXT did to them, and they try to invade NXT, but they can't. They just can't do it. Because the shows don't work together. Like, 1 week, Raw will invade NXT, but they're outnumbered. Then the next week, SmackDown will try, but they're outnumbered. So because the shows aren't working together, they're getting beat down every week. So now we get to SmackDown 2 weeks before the Royal Rumble, and I know this is long-term booking right now, but it is going to speed up a bit. So Roman Reigns refers to NXT as the bullpen, and then Keith Lee comes out and talks about Survivor Series last year, where he earned Roman's respect, because they had that whole handshake thing. And Reigns says, it's like, hey, bro, like, my respect for her, like, hey, man, my respect for you went out the window when you attacked me from behind 2 weeks ago, or however long ago it was, right? And Lee gets a mic and says, yeah, about that. Here's the thing, bro. And Matt Riddle attacks Roman Reigns from behind. They start beating down Roman, but Braun makes the save. And he at the time, he's challenging Roman for the Universal title at Royal Rumble. Right? So it's like, oh, the challenger helping out for the better good. Yeah. So finally, both Raw and SmackDown take over NXT. The NXT before the Royal Rumble, Raw and SmackDown take over. And AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman are like the leaders. They're like the ones like hyping up the crowd, right? You know, you hear Roman being like, "That's what we like. That's how we do it in the big leagues." AJ's like, "This is the house that AJ Styles is gonna knock down." Like everyone's really passionate about this, right? So it's announced that 10 members of NXT will be in the Royal Rumble matches, the Women's Royal Rumble and the Men's Royal Rumble. 10 guaranteed in the Rumble. So the SmackDown Go Home show, we have Keith Lee and Matt Riddle teaming up against Braun and Roman. And I have Matt Riddle and Keith Lee winning after a final flash into a spirit bomb on Braun for the win. So just to quickly touch on NXT, like as themselves as a brand, I have NXT take over Chicago, just like I just picked a random city. I have Undisputed Era found attacks backstage. At this point, no one in Undisputed Era has any gold. They're just Undisputed Era. I have Killer Cross beating Dominik Dijakovic because that's just two big men smacking me. Like that's come on. You don't want to see that?
Give me that right now. Inject it.
This is just for later on. Mustache Mountain. Trent Seven and Tyler Bate beat the Grizzled Young Veterans for the tag titles. I have Finn Balor as North American Champion retaining against Kushida. Because I think that would be a great match. Like, I think that would be such a work rate match. I have Candice LeRae retaining against Tegan Nox. Because I just adore Tegan Nox. And I have Velveteen Dream retaining against Johnny Gargano. Still as the shit-eating heel that he is right now, because it's amazing what he's doing with Candice LeRae. And it's only been 2 weeks. So now we have the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Aleister Black wins the U.S. title. It's Black's first time with the championship. He was close to Money in the Bank, but he just lost. Daniel Bryan wins a 30-minute Iron Man match against Drew Gulak and wins the IC title. And it's like right to the end. Like Drew Gulak holds on till like 5 seconds left, and he finally taps out to the label lock. Or maybe a new submission, like the Danielson special. You guys know that one?
Yes, I do.
The cattle mutilation.
Yeah.
But the cattle mutilation. That's weird.
I have Roman Reigns beating Braun Strowman after a third spear. And this is just throwaway, so that way Drew McIntyre has something to do. Drew McIntyre beats Bobby Lashley to retain, like, whatever. We have big plans for Drew McIntyre, don't you worry. So, we get to the women's Final Four. The women's Royal Rumble match, and the Final Four. Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Rhea Ripley. That's your Final Four. Charlotte eliminates Bianca Belair after countering the KOD. She holds her up and then she slips out and then pushes her over the top rope or something. By the way, our Iron Woman, like the workhorse of the match, Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox goes 45 minutes.
Ooh.
Then we have Rhea Ripley eliminating Becky Lynch. Rhea turns an exploder into a riptide and dumps her over the top rope. And our final two is our NXT Women's title match from this year's WrestleMania, Charlotte versus Rhea. And they have like a good 5-minute scrap, and then Charlotte locks in the figure 8. But Rhea never taps. She just like locks it in for like a solid minute. You know, Rhea gets up, she can barely stand. Charlotte goes for a big boot, but Rhea like catches it, spins her around, and then, you know, like the classic where they go for them and then the person reverses it and throws them over the top rope? I'm going to have Rhea do something like that, but she runs at Charlotte, and Charlotte goes to grab her, but Rhea sidesteps and then throws Charlotte over the top rope because she knows that's what someone would do in this situation. And Rhea Ripley wins the Women's Royal Rumble. And she also gets her revenge on Charlotte for WrestleMania. So now our men's Royal Rumble Final Four. We're at Entrant 30. Entrant 30 is about to come out. And we're at AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sami Zayn, and Adam Cole, baby, are the last four in the match before number 30. Sami Zayn is now face, and he's doing the workhorse. He's been in there over 60 minutes. But he gets eliminated by Adam Cole. Just more heat for Cole, because everyone loves Adam Cole, and I think there's a good way to get him heat is to have him beat a top babyface like that. Mm-hmm. And our number 30 is a returning Kevin Owens. Owens has been out for like 2.5 months with a serious injury because of what happened with Adam Cole, and now Kevin Owens is number 30. Adam Cole and AJ Styles have also been in the match for a very long time. They both came out 12 and 13 respectively, so AJ came out and then Cole came out, and they've both been in the match for like 40 minutes. And they've been at each other's throats all match. Like it's going to boil over at some point. So we have Keith Lee being eliminated by AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. Owens hits a stunner, Lee backs up into the ropes, AJ flies in, phenomenal forearm, Lee goes over. And Adam Cole realizes, oh crap, it's two main roster guys against me. I'm sort of fucking screwed. So Kevin Owens attacks Adam Cole, and he starts beating the hell out of him. AJ, comes in, gets a couple of stomps in, and then Owens picks up Adam Cole and does like the classic, holds his arm behind his back so Cole can't defend himself, right? And Owens is like, AJ, come take your shot. So AJ lines up, he's got this big smile on his face, he grabs Cole by the chin, and he's like, you shouldn't have done it, rookie, you shouldn't have done it. And AJ steps back, he runs at Adam Cole, and he stops. And he throws up the Undisputed Era tan logo. And AJ Styles turns on WWE. AJ Styles is the friend.
Here are some results from the web.
Jesus. AJ Styles is the friend that Adam Cole was referring to. The Undisputed Era comes in. They attack Kevin Owens, and they launch him over the top rope. So our final two is Adam Cole and AJ Styles. They look at each other. Cole smiles, shakes AJ's hand, and Adam Cole eliminates himself. AJ Styles wins the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble match. Triple H comes down to the ring, clapping his hands. A lot of the NXT roster joins in. AJ puts on an NXT shirt, stands up on the top rope, does the whole point the sign thing, and Michael Cole says something along the lines of like, AJ Styles has turned his back on the entire WWE roster. Why? Like that stuff. I know this is running long, and I'm sorry, but I was just so excited.
Not a problem, man.
Keep going. So we got the Raw after the Royal Rumble match. Show opens with AJ Styles, along with the Undisputed Era, all four, Roddy, Cole, Fish, O'Reilly. And AJ's wearing all black and gold. Like, his boots are gold and black. his armbands, everything. It's like that. Remember the never rest, that kind of gold, like that, but with NXT yellow. So AJ comes down. He's all smug because AJ Styles is a heel. Like he's just the smuggest bastard in the room, isn't he? So he's like, oh, I'll explain why I did what I did. And he explains that Triple H came to him before TLC. He guaranteed AJ Styles the main event of WrestleMania next year. All he had to do was leave the door open and let NXT in. Because AJ's never had a WrestleMania main event match. He's never gone on last. And he's been the top guy in the company. He makes a point. I've been the top dude for the last 5-6 years. I came in when people said I was too old, and I tore it down. I built SmackDown. He's really passionate about this. Like he's a heel, but like you get why he's done it. Kind of like Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming, where it's like you're a dick, but I get it. Right? It's like that. So, Keith Lee comes out. He and AJ make amends because it was all part of the plan. Keith Lee knew what was going on. So this wasn't... All of NXT was in on this. Nobody in NXT was in the dark. Everybody in NXT knew what Triple H was doing. So him and Keith Lee, make them big hugs. And Kevin Owens comes out. And he starts, talking about, like how AJ's a coward and he's this and he's that. All he cares about is himself. And AJ goes, there's 6 of us and only 1 of you. And Owens does that, the whole heel thing where he's like, or the whole face thing where he's like, who said I came alone? And we got the Street Profits, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, and Drew McIntyre all joining Kevin Owens by his side. I just put in Mysterio just for like a legend thing, like it's random, but I was like, I want like a big, well-known name across the world. So I was like, okay, Rey Mysterio makes the most sense for me. 12-man tag match is the main event for Raw that night. Becky Lynch is in the ring cutting a promo just about how she's guaranteeing that she will be at WrestleMania as the women's champion. Whether she walks in or walks out with the title, she is at WrestleMania as women's champion. And then you see someone in the crowd. She's just sitting there. She's not doing anything. And they point it out, and it's Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is sitting in the crowd watching Becky Lynch. So we get to the main event, 12-man tag match. The finish, the Street Profits take out Fish and O'Reilly. Aleister Black wipes out Roderick Strong. Drew and Keith Lee take each other out because big meaty men smacking meat. KO cannonballs AJ Styles through the barricade. But amidst all of the chaos, Adam Cole hits the last shot on Rey Mysterio and gets the win for NXT. So SmackDown that same week opens, Roman, doing his whole, the big dog still rules the yard, like that, exactly, doing that. What does he mean when he's doing this? Because,
he's warming something up, but we're not going into that.
So he says, he's like, I've beaten everybody on SmackDown. He really has. Like, he's gone through everybody that would make sense. King Corbin still has Money in the Bank, by the way. He still has the briefcase. And Paige is SmackDown general manager at this point because I need Paige on TV. She's great. She comes out and she says, well, this year SmackDown is going to be the show that hosts the men's Elimination Chamber match. And Paige says there's going to be a tournament. And the tournament is for a place in the Elimination Chamber match. And whoever wins the Elimination Chamber match gets Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the WWE champion or for the Universal title. At some point in the night, Cesaro has a match against Chad Gable. And yes, he's Chad Gable, not Shorty G, because that's fucking stupid. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this show, but that's really stupid.
No, in this case, I allow it.
Okay, perfect. You're good. So, at some point I love just like crowd appearances, if you can't already tell. But tell me that this possibility doesn't just make you really happy. During the Cesaro match that he wins, by the way, Cesaro wins this match. Everyone's favorite bro, Matt Riddle, is in the crowd watching him, eating popcorn, having the time of his life, just being like, "You go, bro." So that there's seeds planted there that we're gonna get Matt Riddle versus Cesaro. Cesaro wins the match. Matt Riddle stands up for standing ovation, and he gets the whole crowd behind him to give Cesaro a standing ovation. Like, everybody is standing, giving Cesaro a standing ovation. Cesaro's confused, but he's like, "Haha, I'm great," because Cesaro is great. So the two chamber matches, I'm fast forwarding a little bit. The two chamber matches end up being for the SmackDown men's chamber match. We have Big E on his own, Cesaro, Braun Strowman, because, you know, we have Sami Zayn, again, as our workhorse. Sami Zayn is going to be like Kofi Kingston, like where he's like right there and everybody kind of wants it, but they don't want it as bad as they wanted Kofi, you know? So it's like if we don't give it to Sami right away, the fans won't be like screaming mad. Just a quick mention on this. There's no Saudi shows this year. In my booking, no Saudi Arabia. We're done with that. No super blood money, no nothing. Just, we're done with it. So, sorry, the men's chamber, Big E, Cesaro, Braun, Sami Zayn. Sheamus, just because you need something to do with Sheamus, and he's always great in Elimination Chamber matches, because he is. And just as our throwaway pick, Elias.
Yes.
They make it seem like Elias could maybe do it. Like, he gets a win over Sheamus. But, let's be honest, it's not going to happen. And then our the Raw Women's division gets the chamber match again. And it's Shayna Baszler defending her women's championship inside the chamber. Now, because Raw's a little shallow in the women's division, a lot of these people are going to be from last year's chamber match. But then I started thinking, I'm like, I can do whatever I want. So we only have two people returning from last year's chamber match. So we have Shayna, we have Asuka, we have Liv Morgan, we have Bianca Belair, we have a drafted Naomi. Naomi was drafted to Raw. And we just have Nia Jax, because you need beef, and Tamina's not beef. So on the Raw, the 4 Elimination Chamber, AJ Styles officially declares that he's going after the WWE Championship. So just to set it in stone, we have Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles as our main event of WrestleMania. On SmackDown, Sasha Banks, still women's champion, is defending against Ruby Riott at the Elimination Chamber. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll make the change if I am wrong. Forgotten Sons, they're on SmackDown now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the Usos beat the Forgotten Sons, but then the Usos are attacked by the Grizzled Young Veterans. And the Grizzled Young Veterans attack the Usos, and they injure one of the brothers, because one of them's got a DUI. So, they need to write him off TV for a bit. Sorry. That's mean, but, come on. Cesaro has another match, and Matt Riddle appears on the Titantron, congratulates him, and says, "I'll see you soon, bro."
Damn.
So, we get to the Elimination Chamber. Men's chamber match goes on third. Women are closing the show this year. Before everyone's making their entrances, and the first two men in are Sami Zayn and Cesaro. Sami Zayn's in first. Cesaro's walking down to the ring. Boom! He gets attacked behind from Matt Riddle. And out comes Keith Lee. And Keith Lee takes Cesaro's spot in the Elimination Chamber match a la Edge against Kofi Kingston. let that rest on your palate for a second, shall we? Our final two are Keith Lee and Sami Zayn. Once again, Keith Lee gets the better of Braun. Braun can't seem to beat Keith Lee, like, no matter what he does. Lee eliminated him in the Rumble match. He pinned him on SmackDown, and he eliminates him here again. Zayn goes for a haluva kick, but Lee catches him, picks him up, Spirit Bomb, 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns versus Keith Lee at WrestleMania for the Universal title match. On the same show, Roman has a title defense against Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not like that I'm rebuilding Nakamura. It's just sort of another throwaway kind of thing. And they go to battle for like 25 minutes, and Nakamura like knees the hell out of Roman Reigns, like where he's barely conscious. But Roman still hits the spear and wins because big dog. Right? But Roman's like really like whoa, he can't get to his feet. And out comes the slimy son of a bitch, King Corbin. And King Corbin cashes in on Roman Reigns. But just to fuck over King Corbin, he still loses. because Corbin can now have a story with somebody where they're like, hey, you've lost 2 Money in the Bank matches, you little fuck. Like, so we get to the women's chamber match. They close the show. At some point in the match, I'll let you free.
No, continue.
And I know I'm running long, but we're coming to the end here. You're good, man. At some point in the women's chamber match, Shayna Baszler gets like an arm injury. Like, you remember how she got hurt at TakeOver with her shoulder against Ember Moon? Something like that, where they show like Shayna's a real warrior. Like, maybe she goes to slam somebody through a pod. Like, she goes to slam Liv Morgan through a pod, and Liv pushes her into the pod and then closes the pod on her arm or something. So now Shayna's like, she can't grab the Kirifuda clutch as deep as she could because her arm's hurt. So we give Shayna Baszler's character some depth here. We give her like some sort of power move as a finisher. So that way it's not like, oh, all she can do is choke somebody out. No, like she can pin somebody 1, 2, 3. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it comes down to Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair, 2 NXT alums. They had a match at the pay-per-view before TLC, and that was like a barn burner, like match of the year candidate. But then like Bianca gets hurt or something. I'll put down my mic because it's probably getting very loud. Shayna eventually gets the better. Bianca hits some sort of big power move. I don't have an idea for her. Like if you could give Shayna Baszler some sort of power move, what would you give her?
I think with one arm you could probably bring back like the Scorpion Death drop. I mean, I think Shayna could probably pull that off pretty well.
Okay, that's not bad. Fretz, anything from you?
With one arm, I think the one thing that can come to my mind would be like an STO.
It doesn't have to be with one arm. It's just like like Shayna can't put more than a bit of pressure in the Kirifuda clutch, so she goes for it, but she can't. But she can still hit like suplexes and stuff.
Well, I could think a really good MMA move. She can probably pull off a really stiff-looking STO.
Possibly. I remember reading something where someone was like, Shayna Baszler should have like some sort of like crazy STO or something.
Or a reverse, like the downward spiral. Or like a jumping one like Shelton Benjamin does.
Ooh. Or maybe like some sort of variation, maybe like a variation on the End of Days where it's like the reverse. Like she does it into a Russian leg sweep or something.
Ooh. Or End of Days, but then it goes right into like the Rampage DDT or something.
Ooh.
Not bad. Okay, see, this is why this is fun. So Shayna Baszler wins the Elimination Chamber match. You know, Cole is on commentary again, you know, making a big point. Oh, Shayna Baszler, like say what you want, but she's a warrior. And then we hear this. And Becky Lynch flies down to the ring, and she cashes in Money in the Bank on Shayna Baszler. We have 2 Money in the Bank cash-ins on the same night because fantasy. So Becky runs down, and her and Shayna go back and forth for about 3 minutes. But Becky eventually locks into the disarmor, and Shayna Baszler taps out. And Becky Lynch is Raw Women's Champion. She said she would go into WrestleMania or leave WrestleMania with the title. Well, now she's going in. So on Raw, they're making a point again of how NXT ruined another pay-per-view. Like, people are getting mad. Like the executives are pissed. And eventually, there's talk about someone returning tonight. And the show closes, or the show at some point we hear, Mr. McMahon is back. And he's huffing and puffing to the ring. Right? And he is livid. And he cuts straight to the chase. Triple H, you son of a bitch, get out here! And Triple H walks out. He's walking all. You know how Triple H does smug,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, I'm a shithead. So anyway, so Triple H comes out and he's joined by Keith Lee, a couple members of the Undisputed Era. Let's say Roger Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and AJ Styles. Triple H is on the stage. He walks about halfway down the ramp, and he stops, and he says, "All right, Dad," because, you know, Stephanie.
Yeah.
You want to know why? I'll tell you why. I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this for the fans. And he refers back to that promo, that really shitty promo that they all did in the ring, where it's like, we're going to give the power back to the people. We're going to listen to you. And then they never did it. But NXT flourished around that time, remember? NXT was sort of dead. But then they had their resurgence that same year with Andrade and Gargano. So Triple H makes a point like, you sure as hell aren't listening to the fans. I am. That's why NXT is flourishing. Blah, 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 blah. They go back and forth, right? Triple H says, I have a challenge for you, Vince. NXT versus WWE at WrestleMania. Every main roster title is on the line against somebody from my brand. And whoever wins the most matches between the main roster and NXT, whoever wins takes control of the WWE. And for context, in my story, Vince McMahon is ready to retire. So Triple H will take over WWE in my story. I'm altering reality as much as I can because I swear to God, Vince is going to die in his desk and still figure out a way to run the company. So Vince goes, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's fucking stupid. And Triple H gets all smug and he goes, I thought you might say that. And that's why there's always a plan B. And plan B is Shane McMahon. They beat the hell out of Shane McMahon. They beat the piss out of Shane McMahon on the stage. You gotta give Vince some sort of humanity here. And even give it to Shane. Like, they beat the hell out of Shane. Like, Matt Riddle locks him in the bro mission for like 2 minutes until Vince finally caves. And he says, okay, fine. Just stop hurting my son. And Triple H is like, I thought you'd see it my way eventually, Dad. And as for the matches at WrestleMania, you'll find out soon. So the night goes on. We're coming to the end here. I'm wrapping it up. I know we're running really late on time. It's almost over here. Aleister Black has a match. He wins, and he gets attacked by Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa grabs the mic, and he says, hello, old friend. You've been on a hell of a roll since you left us in NXT, huh? You might be the champion right now, but always remember one thing. I have, and I always will have, your number. I'll see you at WrestleMania. And we have Aleister Black versus Tommaso Ciampa for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. Sasha Banks lays down a challenge to NXT on SmackDown. She says, anybody from NXT that wants some of the boss, come and get the boss. Okay. There's about 3 different people I could see doing this. I first thought Tegan Nox, because they made a point of her in the Royal Rumble match. But I feel like Tegan needs to be the one that takes off Candice, because Tegan's a massive babyface. I then thought about maybe Candice LeRae. Like, she's still champion, but have her beat Sasha, go for Sasha anyway. But then I went, oh wait, what am I talking about? Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania.
Oh, damn.
Keith Lee and Braun Strowman finally have their blow-off match because Lee has his match with Roman at WrestleMania. So they have a blow-off match on SmackDown. They go like 20 hard minutes, like big meaty man smack. It's me. Like, it's just me. Lee wins with that fireman's carry jackhammer thing that he does. The big freak accident or something he calls it.
Big Bang Catastrophe.
That's it, yeah. Keith Lee stands up. He's like, oh, she's like, ha, I did it. Turns around, boom, spear from Roman Reigns. Now, there's 2 ways to go with another match, and I'll make it quick. I have Matt Riddle, but I have 2 different scenarios for Matt Riddle. One is he goes against Cesaro in a workhorse/stallion match, 2 out of 3 falls at WrestleMania. Or, and this is a big or, like get the canoe. If Brock Lesnar or Goldberg is willing to take a loss to boost Riddle's stock, that's your match. So if Brock is willing to take, a loss to boost Riddle's stock, we got Brock versus Matt Riddle. And then I gave Cesaro a backup match in case, quickly vote. Riddle versus Brock or Riddle versus Cesaro, 2 out of 3 falls?
Cesaro.
Okay. So my backup match, now that you've voted, my backup match was Cesaro versus Dominic Dijakovic. Because I thought that'd be interesting. Becky versus Rhea writes itself. The Rumble match, NXT champion, they've both been beaten by Charlotte. But then Becky makes a point. She goes, you know, Rhea, I beat the same woman that you beat for that little title of yours. We've both beaten Shayna Baszler. But yet you've never beaten Charlotte, have you? I have. Multiple times. And Becky's like being all snooty and whatever. So, quickly, just for NXT, Killer Kross and Dominic Dijakovic go again. Killer Kross wins again. Oh shoot, no. Oh no! You malfunctioned. Sorry. Killer Kross has a match with Damian Priest. Just cuts.
Oh, damn.
Mustache Mountain retains their titles against that Indian team that guy built. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah, those big 2 dudes. Finn Balor retains his championship against Jordan Devlin. Because Kushida beats Devlin for the title, and then Devlin goes after Balor. Candice LeRae, again, retains her title against now face Dakota Kai, just because I kind of want to see Dakota Kai face again. And Velveteen Dream retains his championship by disqualification against Killer Kross. So now we get to WrestleMania, and this is I'm just gonna blow through this. The official match card for WrestleMania, starting from the main event going to like the stuff where I'm like, oh yes, please. We have AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre, WWE Championship. We have Keith Lee versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. We have the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Titles. We have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus the Street Profits for the Raw Tag because they went hard in NXT twice. Adam Cole versus Kevin Owens, because Adam Cole is the one who injured Kevin Owens in the first place. We have Matt Riddle versus Cesaro, 2 out of 3 falls. We have, and this is a personal favorite because this is match of the year, we have Daniel Bryan defending the Intercontinental Championship against Johnny Gargano. They go like 30 minutes. We have Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. We have Tommaso Ciampa versus Aleister Black for the U.S. Championship. We have Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Championship, Women's Championship. And that's all of our title matches. But then we have a couple of filler matches, just cuts. We have the Velveteen Dream versus John Cena, because we need that match. We have Roderick Strong versus Rey Mysterio. I feel like that'd be fun. We have Peter Dunne against Samoa Joe. Because tell me you wouldn't pay $40 just for that match. We have Jeff Hardy versus someone voted on by the fans. So, pick someone from NXT to face Jeff Hardy.
Ilya Dragunov.
Ooh, interesting. I was thinking Virgil Devitt. Jeff Hardy versus a heel Finn Balor.
On a Kate Murphy's Wet Dream Want to Pull match.
Jesus Christ. And we have 2 more matches just to close it out. These are my 2 personal favorites. Would you like a Beefy men's match or a Beefy tag match first?
Beefy men's.
Beefy men's?
I was gonna go tag, but let's just
do men's.
I'll go with that. Yeah.
We have the Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Killer Cross. Because Killer Cross is booked as an absolute monster on NXT. Like, he's not human. Like, he's human, but he's not human. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And what do you guys think of that? I wasn't sure about that one.
I'd watch it.
That has mind games coming out the wazoo. I mean, PCO is not the only guy who ain't human.
And finally, this is probably my second personal favorite behind Gargano and Daniel Bryan. We have the New Day versus Imperium. Yeah, all their opposite teams. Okay? So that's our card. NXT is a clean sweep. Except Aleister Black gets his win over Tommaso Ciampa.
Damn.
The next night on Raw, the next championship title feud, AJ Styles versus Aleister Black. Because Aleister Black says, I'm the only one who beat someone from NXT. You might not be from NXT, but I know I can beat you. And that's how I book an NXT WWE main roster invasion. Holy crap, that went way longer than I wanted it to. I'm so sorry.
You are totally fine.
I just got so passionate about this. Like, I don't get passionate about a lot of things. Like, I really don't. Like, it's a sad reality. But, like, when you said yes to this, Nate, man, it made everything so much better because I was having a rough time with what was going on. So I thank you for bringing me on this show, man.
Not a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, to be continued.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Kate Murphy of Kings of the Rings podcast, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast only on Wrestle Addict Radio.
What's up, folks? This is Mr. Fretz from the Game Changer podcast, here to tell you about my Patreon show, The 20 Bell Salute, where I go back 20 years ago each month in wrestling and pop culture. What movies were out, what video games we were playing, what music we were downloading on Napster, and what wrestling pay-per-views took place that month in WWE and what other promotions happen to still exist at this time. So join me in my Y2K compliant DeLorean as I go 20 years into the past on the Wrestle Addict Radio Patreon. Join us for only $5 a month.
I use the music, right? Like, that's not a copyright problem or anything?
Oh, hell no.
Dude, we just played Charlotte's theme just for you, so, you know.
Yeah, you guys suck for that.
That was my idea.
Yeah, it was.
I'll be honest, if we're gonna just be a little honest here, this is gonna be cut out of the show. Your boy kind of smoked up some of that grass right before Nate messaged me and said, "Hey, get ready," and I was like, "I'm not fucking ready."
Well,
it would have ran way less time if I wasn't, but yeah, sorry.
Hey man, if it helps you calm down, that's what matters. And honestly, I will say this. I've already hit record on that, so that's going to be part of the show now. And you know something? Don't judge anybody who does that because hey, Snoop Dogg does it, Willie Nelson does it, Cheech and Chong do it. People got to take the edge off. Welcome back to Three Beefy Boys talking about wrestling because now I can't. Hey man, you mentioned so much meat during your fantasy booking. Now it's stuck in my head. So
I really wanted to get a clip of Big E saying that and just hit play every time I wanted to say it, but I couldn't get it edited in time.
I think there needs to be a segment for the show now. It's just Mr. Slacks Beefy Boy Clip of the Week.
Oh my god!
Pepsi Blue Beef of the Week.
Yeah, like my beefiest match of the week.
Beefy match.
Can we do that?
If you can pick a matchup before we record usually, then yes, I will put that onto the show. If you can just pick like one deal there, maybe like if you want to do like a 1 to 5 minute deal talking about your favorite Beefy Boy match of the week, I will put this on the show.
Or can we just do like all like matches of all time, like across the board? Because I got a lot of beefy men.
Oh, by all means.
Oh, please.
All right.
Do it up later, Nate.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about this later. But anyway, we already got through Slacks. He took about an hour, but that's totally fine. I don't care.
Oh.
It was still absolutely great. Hopefully you guys are still with us. Mr. Fretz, you are up next on the chopping block. By all means, the floor is yours.
I have to follow that.
I love you, man.
Good Lord. Okay, I'm just going to get into this White Claw here. It doesn't taste as good as I thought it would, but it's okay. So, my notes are going to be all over the place because I would be editing this and writing this down in my notebook after work, and at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, whenever I'm working a lot of the late hours at my workplace this week, and there goes Slack.
Sorry.
You're fine.
So right away, there was little to no Invasion. I tried so hard. I'm like, okay,
I got so far.
Sorry. Fuck you, Slack.
There it is. Everybody take a drink.
Who doesn't love a good Linkin Park reference?
I love Linkin Park so much, man, but
continue.
You know what? Ant would like that. Ant DeStefano, that's for you, my man.
Yay.
So, there is little to no Invasion. There is no loser leaves. There is very few defections. No one's a heel here, if you will. My point for NXT is to get NXT on WrestleMania.
Oh.
Now I know we had like the title match this year. So my thing here goes from the day after Super Blood Money last year, that special SmackDown that we all got.
You're going back that far.
Yep. Well, that was leading up. That was leading up to Survivor Series.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
I like that.
I'm gonna have to turn off my mic again. There we go. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm turning into Will here, burping into the mic, but I pressed mute.
Oh, God. Shout out to Will Tereshchuk.
Love you, Will. So, here's the thing. Remember that airplane issue that the talent had coming home from this show?
I like to forget that.
I'm going to put a pin in that. I'm just going to say that because it might be part of this. I might twist this into the storyline. Weave it into it just a little bit. So, you see SmackDown, it starts out, you go, "Are you ready for a good time?" Love AC/DC. You see, it's just, you see the crowd, you see nothing. And then you hear Triple H's theme. He's like, where'd everybody go? Where is everybody? Well, hey, you didn't make it. You guys didn't make it home in time. So tonight, SmackDown is canceled. Tonight, welcome to NXT. So you hear whatever the NXT theme is. I almost played Light the Fuse. Like, wait, what's wrong, company?
Isn't it? God. Oh fuck. Continue. I'll think of the name. Slipknot.
Oh, it is? Okay,
It's
nice. I
Slipknot.
didn't know that. Oh, F&A. Wait and bleed, man. So, a lot of the IRL stuff from this SmackDown happens here. Some of the talent made it back. So we get Cole versus Bryan.
Nice.
But in this one, Bray Wyatt had just won the WWE title.
Like regular Bray Wyatt or the Fiend?
The Fiend, I'm sorry. In Saudi, this happens.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You see the Firefly Funhouse. We see he comes up like, hi! He has this title. Look at this. Just, doing his thing. And then the lights go out. And you see all the pictures on the wall start to have, they all have red eyes. Instead of the X's over their eyes, red eyes. Boom, 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 boom. Demon. So, this is a tease. Okay, this is just a cock tease right now for the demon. Oh, I know. Slack, you're resisting the urge. If you want to say something, say it.
Did you just steal my idea?
No! Dude, I had this written down since last week.
Okay. I'm breaking the fourth wall here. I have to. Because this is the craziest coincidence. I was recently contacted by the Kings of the Ring, and they asked me if I wanted to film a pilot for a show. Nate knows about this.
Yes.
My first podcast episode was a rebooking of The Fiend from Saudi Arabia to WrestleMania. My main event, the Demon versus Bray Wyatt. Here's the other thing. I have a Firefly Funhouse where all the pictures change. And the music and the heartbeat plays. I swear to God. I swear to God.
Hey, the great Canadians think alike, man.
Oh my God! Please continue, Fretz, because now I want to see how you booked that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you know right now. That's not at WrestleMania. I know. As I said, this isn't very much Invasion. This is to get NXT on the WrestleMania card. Okay, where did I? Excuse me, leave off.
Firefly Funhouse.
So we see all these attacks. Okay, after the Firefly, that's literally how it ends. It's just all the red eyes, and you see like a demon thing, and the heartbeat end. Lights out. Excuse me, I should not drink when I do this podcast. So Triple H comes out. Okay, now this is going to be kind of all over the place because I wrote this down over a period of 3 weeks, and I might have dipped into the Invasion toe just a little bit, but Triple H cuts a promo. Like, we are NXT. I know many of you came from here, and you've established yourself right here on Raw or SmackDown. But some of you have forgot who you are. If you want to join us, maybe you can. Vince, I want NXT on WrestleMania. So, I know I said there was very little defections. Well, the New Day is attacked backstage. And then you see, the camera pans out, and you just see 2 jackets. No flips, just fists. Say yeah. The Revive have joined NXT.
Oh wait, this is back last year. I'm sorry, I got mixed up. I was like, whoa, they resigned.
No, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned it was
Saudi. I just forgot.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I got
Yeah.
in a podcast. Anyways, Vince is like, he challenges, Triple H challenges WWE teams at Survivor Series. If NXT wins, this is getting them on the road to WrestleMania. We'll get spots in the Royal Rumble, and then on to WrestleMania.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so and what I wrote down here is that this is an opportunity for NXT to prove themselves, that they're not just a developmental brand, that they're the third brand, that they'll be taken as seriously as ECW was in 2008. So Survivor Series, here are your matches: the Revival versus the New Day.
Nice.
The Undisputed Era versus the War Machine.
War Machine.
Roddy
Viking Raiders.
Yeah, I refuse to call him that.
Sorry.
Roddy Strong versus AJ Styles.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, it gets better. Undo the drawstring on your track pants. Walter versus Brock Lesnar.
I thought about I had Walter. I was so close to putting Walter on WrestleMania, but I couldn't figure out a way to fit him.
I wanted to save this for Mania, but I'm like, I think I didn't even have Brock on my Mania card. Spoiler alert. Okay, so Survivor Series men's teams: Cole, Gargano, Ciampa, Lee, and I have scratched out so many names here because I couldn't come to a decision on whether I should have Riddle, Dijak, or Finn as my final guy. And you know what? What's that?
No Dream?
Damn, yeah. See, I should have like the NXT roster in front of me when I did this. Okay, I tried not to, but so guys, who would you have as my final NXT man? Riddle? Is it Finn?
Finn.
Okay, so let's because
sorry.
No, you know what? I crossed him out because he's facing the Fiend. It's Matt Riddle. Okay. Yeah, this is what happens when I work 50 hours a week and do this.
I would have gone Dijak personally.
Okay, that's awesome.
No, I do like Matt Riddle though. But I just like Heath Lee and Dijakovic in the same ring doing anything together because big meaty men.
Yes. And on the WWE side, because this is Raw and SmackDown are basically joining forces. Mm-hmm. We have Drew, Seth, Roman, KO, and Nakamura.
Oh, Shinsuke, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, all right.
I didn't actually write it down who I'd put over, but I'm just going to say NXT is going to kill everything here. We have on the women's Naomi, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley going up against Shayna, Bianca, Rhea, and Team Kick. But of course, in my universe, Dakota Kai. You know what? Dakota Kai had just turned heel, so Tegan Nox was laid out at TakeOver. She is replaced by Kaylee Ray.
Ooh, interesting.
All right. So now here's a match. I think this one's just for you, Kate. Actually, two of maybe one of the three will. But for the Cruiserweight title, we have Drake Maverick versus Leo Rush versus Jordan Devlin.
Ooh, interesting. Who goes over?
I'm going to put Devlin because he's NXT. Although it would pain me not to pick my boy Drake. Win, Spud, win. And then we have the Demon versus the Fiend, and Bray Wyatt absolutely just wrecks his life.
Again?
Because, again, yes.
Oh, wait, would it be again? No, it wouldn't be again, because they faced at SummerSlam last year.
Yeah, you were there, you lucky prick.
Seeing the Fiend live was so cool. Just a humble brag.
I know.
Brag away.
Yeah, but you know that morning, that's when I was. That was that 8K. That was for my niece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
I couldn't have found a way there, but anyways. So what I wrote. Okay, next page. I wrote down here on the top that the rosters, like Raw and SmackDown and NXT, they still feud amongst themselves because, as I said, this isn't the Invasion. This is to get NXT on the card, and there's going to be stakes for them coming up here. I think the stakes for their Mania appearance.
So NXT story is still just NXT versus NXT, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay. you're still probably going to have, because I have NXT have a takeover here, and they have matches. So, as a result of their Survivor Series sweep, they like you, they each, the men and the women, get 10 spots in the Royal Rumble. And as an added bonus, Vince is just like, you know what? Fuck it. You want to have a chance to prove yourselves? TLC is now NXTLC.
Oh my God.
Terrible wordplay, I know. And it plays... So we have... Okay, this is their card. So we have DIY versus the Undisputed Era for the tag team titles. Cole versus Dream in a TLC match for the NXT title. Roddy versus Keith Lee in a tables match for the North American title. This is where Keith Lee would win his title. Shayna versus Rhea in a ladder match for the women's title, where Rhea would get her title. Walter versus Dijakovic for the UK title.
That's just fucking filthy.
Finn Balor versus Jordan Devlin. Just again. And although I said no defections, there are 2 WWE stars that are trying to be like, hey, let's try this. Let's try and get on this card. Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, it's filthy for a third time.
And this is just like a smart marks like wet dream match. And we have and this is normal takeover. And throughout the coming weeks on TV, NXT holds qualifying matches for the spots in the Royal Rumble for the men and the women. NXT champions did I have Dream? I have Cole. I forgot who I had Dream and Cole going over. It might come up later in here, but it's not going to matter because what's going to be for the title is going to be a bit spicy. So DIY. Keith Lee, Dijakovic, Finn Balor, Roddy, Ilya Dragunov, what the hell did I write there? Oh, Dave Mastiff, Damian Priest, and Killian Dane all qualify for the Men's Royal Rumble. Because I want to get a little bit of UK in this. And then I booked Brock versus Walter again at the Royal Rumble.
I'd run it back.
Okay, so other matches at the Royal Rumble: AJ Styles versus Johnny Gargano.
Filthy.
Okay, I must have had Shinsuke Nakamura defecting here. So Nakamura versus Finn for the IC title. Nope, Nakamura's still on SmackDown. Never mind, Finn. Gosh, Fiend versus Daniel Bryan happens here again.
Nice.
The Dusty Rhodes Cup final with the Revival going over DIY.
Ooh, no Roserweights.
And Goldberg versus Matt Riddle.
Fuck, dude.
Becky and in a women's showcase match here, Becky Lynch versus Dakota Kai.
Nice.
So we have here before the Royal Rumble, out comes Shane McMahon. He says, if NXT wants to perform at WrestleMania, the only way you will even get on the card for any match is for an NXT star to win the Royal Rumble. So the Women's Royal Rumble is won by Shayna Baszler. In my mind, who should have actually won the whole thing.
Fuck that bullshit.
And as for the men's... Men.
Is it Adam Cole?
No.
Oh.
As he takes another swing.
Tommaso Ciampa.
Wow.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, hear me out. So during the Rumble, there was a brief DIY reunion, and Orton eliminated Johnny Gargano throughout this match. This is just what I wrote down just because. And Ciampa says, you know what? I'm not waiting to WrestleMania. Cole, I want the title, and I want it now. But at Elimination Chamber, we get an NXT Elimination Chamber match for the title. So we got Gargano, Cole, Keith Lee, Dijak, Priest, Ciampa, but Ciampa is jumped backstage by a guy in a hooded figure. You don't see nothing. He's replaced by Walter. Unfortunately for Walter, he big shows this match. He eats every finisher imaginable like 3 times and is eliminated. And in this match, Johnny Gargano wins the NXT title.
Very nice.
Next week on NXT, Ciampa comes out. He demands answers. He's not leaving this ring until he gets it. So he gets a chair. He gets his crutch. Blah blah blah. And then Gargano comes to the ring. You know, they have a handshake. They have a nice little moment until you see the hacker. You know, who is it? Well, Mustafa Ali, the hacker, just like.
I have some extra footage for you, Ciampa, that you might find interesting.
So you see, okay, boom, you see him get jumped by the hooded figure. But then the camera keeps rolling. Unveils the hood. Was Johnny. All of a sudden, just they fight. They go up and down the arena. For the record, the coronavirus is not part of this storyline. There are crowds. There are people. Everyone in the I can't remember the name of the Full Sail is going nuts. Like they show Izzy crying in the crowd or something. shout out to Izzy, by the way. She's awesome. And then you see security come in and get them. Nope, they deck security. They keep them going. More security comes. Nope, they deck him. SWAT team comes in. Shields everything.
SWAT team, oh my god.
I know. I'm ridiculous. AKs, shields, everything. Regal, that's enough. At WrestleMania, I can't do an accent, gosh. At WrestleMania, for your NXT championship, it's hell in a cell in a loser leaves NXT match.
For your championship, hell in a cell.
Like War Games, but not. Camera pans to Triple H. He's just like, my plan worked. And Regal is just like, what the bloody hell are you talking about? Never mind, nothing. So that's just your your hint at the plane malfunction, which was probably something awful, like a damn hostage negotiation or something, but it's like, the airplane delays, they were my fault. So here's the deal. The NXT title, the women's title, and the tag titles are now all defended at WrestleMania. TakeOver, which is going to be, let's say, like the Thursday night before, is going to be main evented by the North American Championship. So the undercard is going to main event your TakeOver match, your TakeOvers here. So we see all the gauntlets being thrown out. Shayna targets Becky, absolutely decimates her. Maybe I'll go without the biting part. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Riddle and Dunn win the tag titles, challenge the Usos. Okay, yeah, as I said, this is all over the place. It's going to be a big mess. Raw and SmackDown issue an open challenge to NXT at WrestleMania. You on the card? You're on. And here's the deal. The winning brand at WrestleMania gets number 30 in the Royal Rumble in 2021.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
Okay. So here's TakeOver Tampa. Main evented for the North American Championship, Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic in a last man standing match.
Oh.
and I'm going to have Keith Lee going over just because I want him to have a good reign. The Cruiserweight Championship match. Jordan Devlin versus Drake Maverick. I want Drake. I'm putting Drake over here. Okay. For the UK Championship, Walter holds an open challenge. All of a sudden, I'm gonna have to stall here and get this out.
Oh my god.
He holds a gong. No.
Just caves in his chest with one shot.
It's the Boneyard match between Walter and Undertaker. At last!
So he holds an open challenge to anyone for the UK Championship. And you hear this.
Dragon off?
No. Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Whoa.
After inducting his father into the Hall of Fame, he comes out on behalf of the UK, on behalf of Leeds, England, but Walter just chops his face off. UK Women's Championship, yeah, I'm involving them here. Kaylee Ray versus Piper Niven. Finally give Piper that damn title. And here is, once again, KO and Nakamura wanting to get on this TakeOver card. And Regal's just like, alright, fine. Winner gets an NXT contract. And the winner of this match is Nakamura. We have a contract signing for the NXT title, which I'm not going to say what it's going to be yet until I get to WrestleMania. Of course, it breaks out into a schmoz, blah, blah, blah. Promos on Gargano and Ciampa playing into their past. UK Tag Team Championship Tornado Tag Team match. Imperium versus Gallus. Imperium gets to win. And just because I want this on a TakeOver card, Ilya Dragunov versus Cesaro.
Again.
With Dragunov going over.
Ooh, changing it.
Okay. So, WrestleMania in Tampa in front of fans, and I wrote, fuck Corona. So, although we haven't heard very much of what's going on the other shows, so for the WWE title, I still have Drew versus Brock.
Okay.
Drew gets his moment. Universal Championship, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. I really want something Funhouse-esque, because what we got at Mania with this was amazing. The Fiend comes out on the pirate ship, and as if it's like a ghost ship from the Shadow Temple and Ocarina of Time. We see a Buried Alive match between Taker and AJ. For the Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn against Roderick Strong. For the NXT Tag Team Championship in a ladder match, Riddle and Dunn versus the Usos. And in an interesting parallel of names and gimmicks, the Monday Night Messiah is Seth Rollins against Damian Priest. And here it is. The NXT title, Hell in the Cell, loser leaves NXT. Gargano versus Ciampa, NXT Championship. This is on Mania.
Is this the main event?
Hey, you know what? Fuck it. It is. It is now. And what we got on NXT a couple weeks ago is going to happen, but it's also going to involve Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Like you'll see the lights out. You'll hear like the tick-tock. Killer Cross comes out. Saito suplex. Saito suplex Ciampa on like a stack of chairs. Let's make it look disgusting. Play into the whole neck thing. Gargano just kind of looks dumbfounded. Counts the 3. Lights go out and crosses again. I know I made Killer Cross the Undertaker here or the Fiend, but I don't know. So for the Raw Women's Championship, we have Becky versus Shayna, and Shayna just destroys it here. SmackDown Women's, I gotta have Bayley and Sasha for the title at WrestleMania here. NXT Women's title, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, and because NXT is going to decimate Mania, and just for you, Slack, I'm putting Rhea over. Raw Tag Team Championship, Undisputed Era versus the Street Profits. For the Women's Tag Team Championship, this is a long card.
I forgot about that.
The Iconics versus the Bukkake Warriors.
Oh, God.
SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Miz and Morrison versus Mustache Mountain versus The Revival versus Grizzled Young Veterans.
Yes.
And just because, Dominik Dijakovic versus Braun Strowman, Sheamus versus Walter, Andrade versus El Hito Fantasmo. What did I have here? I double booked the Profits and the GOIV. And for if we have to do a pre-show match, I'm going to say the Riot Squad Triple Threat and Piper Niven versus Nia Jax. Now, I didn't forget about the Battle Royals. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to be for the 24/7 Championship. And who is going to walk out with the champion? There's going to be one man walking out with 2 titles at WrestleMania, and that is Drake Maverick, and he's going to consummate his marriage.
Oh my God, no.
The women's Battle Royal, the name-redacted Memorial Battle Royal, and the winner of this match is going to be a number 1 contender, anytime, anywhere, any title, and that's Bianca.
So Money in the Bank minus the briefcase.
Basically. So
Like-
NXT wins WrestleMania. They get number 30 in the 2021 Royal Rumble, and as an extra bonus, they get an extra takeover event.
Oh, nice.
And with the draft here, I have they have the option to have immunity, but if they don't want to be drafted, they have the right to refuse if they immediately win a match.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my whole complicated, insanely bad rambling NXT thing. I didn't want to make this an invasion because the WCW invasion was just one of the worst missed booking opportunities I've ever seen. And if you listen to Fretz's Fave 5 this past week, I briefly glanced on it with my 5, I call them my 5 favorite missed booking ops, but it's because they're the top 5 ones that I was most invested in, like Nexus, the Invasion, the Streak. Those are all like Nate. These are all episodes we can like go on for, but that's I had to follow Slack, but whew, there's my convoluted NXT thing.
Well, all right, we're gonna take one more break, and then it's clobbering time.
This is your pool party captain, Randy Fitzsimmons, and you're listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Pew pew!
What's going on, everybody? This is the Queen Bee, the HBIC of Wrestle Addict Radio, the Kate Murphy. Why do fools fall in love? Should I change my Tinder bio? These questions and more will all be answered on our new Patreon-exclusive show, Love and War. Watch me and King Ricky Rose tackle the questions and struggles of finding love as a wrestling fan. Love is a battlefield, and this is Love and War, exclusively on the Wrestle Addict Radio Patreon.
So traditional, it's unconditional. 1, 2, I'm marching for you. I've got your number. Yeah, I don't think you're ready. Don't speak. Now mind your manners and be respectful. You better keep it steady. Don't be jealous 'cause they like what they see. You say I'm devilish, but it's not what it seems. It comes so natural, can't take it from me. Like a lady, act like a lady. So traditional.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Game Changer Podcast. It is just about to be my time, but before we get into that, I think it's only fair that we thank our special guest, Mr. Slack, for coming onto the show. Thank you, good sir. And I know that you are almost world-renowned on Twitter, but how can people find you and send all of their hate to you because apparently King Ricky has something against you? I don't get why, but...
You can ask him about that. We can have like a 4-way episode where Ricky and I finally, roast each other or something.
I would love that.
Yeah, unfortunately I gotta go because I'm essential and I gotta work for 9 a.m. So you can find me on Twitter at slackstyle09. You can find me on Instagram at glorious_slack. And just because you can find me on TikTok as slackstyle09 as well.
All right, awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for being essential. Stay safe. Keep clean. We're going to definitely make this show going for you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Slack. Click, clack. Have a good one, buddy.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
You as well.
Cheers.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2 Canadians versus 1 American. Time for me to finally put my 2 cents into this. So, I kind of, in a weird way, did a combination of what yours was, Fretz, along with what was Slack's, which was obviously having a kind of a winner-take-all situation. So there's only going to be 1 match, which that will happen, and that will kind of be the focal point of this entire deal. But I will still have a couple of matches on here that will kind of play out as time goes on. So, first things first, Survivor Series. Hey, let's have a fun time. Let's have NXT just beat everybody at this deal. Let's have NXT just pitch an entire shutout, meaning SmackDown doesn't get a win, Raw doesn't get a win. NXT just completely dominates. In the men's Survivor Series match, Keith Lee and Finn Balor, they're the final 2, because why the hell not? And for the women's matchup, the sole survivor is Tegan Nox. In the main event, we have a match between the NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa, the Universal champion, AJ Styles, and the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. In this matchup, we see Tommaso Ciampa pin AJ Styles because Finn Balor interferes in this matchup. Why would he do that? Well, you'll kind of wait and see. So after this is going on, Triple H is kind of basking in the glory and the fact that NXT is winning, everything is good, while we get a little bit of a paid homage to where Vince McMahon is in his office and he's losing it. This is the point where he is just slowly losing it. Is that I'm losing control over my company. I'm losing every single bit of what I created. I'm losing everything. I have to do something. And he decides that he wants to inject NXT with a lethal dose of poison. And that poison being Brock Lesnar. His most dominant creation goes to NXT. And as you would kind of think would happen, Brock comes down and he just decides, I'm just going to kill everybody. He throws out cruiserweights. He beats up just random jobbers. He's beating up everybody. Hell, during his reign there, he actually breaks the arm of Triple H as well as the leg of Shawn Michaels, basically saying, I don't care who I have to beat up. I'm going to cripple NXT. And every single time Brock does that, Vince is just looking on, whether it's like a smartphone or maybe just a nice screen for him. Maybe it's like one of those box TVs. Box TVs. Jeez Louise. And he is just having that grin on his face. He's like, yes, I am the supreme one. I am the best. While in NXT, Brock Lesnar is facing off against Dominik Dijakovic. He beats him down, no problem. And he's thinking, you know what? I'm going to cripple Dominik Dijakovic. He's just about ready to lock in the Kimura lock to break his arm. All of a sudden, Keith Lee comes out. And we get the stare down between Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar. At first, Brock is just like, who's this beefy boy? I could take him on. Bounces off the ropes, goes for a shoulder block. Keith Lee doesn't budge. So Brock's like, okay, let me try again. He does it a second time. Keith Lee, same result. And Brock's like, okay, now you're starting to piss me off. Bounces off, then Keith Lee just pounces Brock Lesnar out of the ring, like literally just throws him over the top rope. Brock Lesnar hits the rampway, and he is just buried into that hole. No, he's just basically thrown out of the ring. Brock Lesnar is just thinking, okay, this is not what I was expecting. So they make a match for Royal Rumble. It's Brock Lesnar versus Keith Lee. On this Royal Rumble card, we also have the Divas of Doom. They have made their return, and they have won the iconic tag team titles from Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And they have their titles retained at the Royal Rumble over the Iconics. Keep that in mind, because we are indeed going to be incorporating the tag team titles into this. We have the match between, we have the Women's Royal Rumble matchup. In this matchup, Vince McMahon says, you know what? You guys won at Survivor Series. It's great. It's fine. I'm going to allow the NXT stars to compete in the Rumble. But you only get 5 spots in the Rumble. You kind of tell Vince has a little bit of an issue with the NXT guys, but what are you going to do? So in the Women's Royal Rumble matchup, the 5 NXT women that are put in are actually the first 5 entrants. Vince McMahon rigged it to happen that way. In the end, though, unfortunately, NXT does not pick up the victory. In the end, it is picked up by superstar Rhea Ripley. Because we're going to get a rematch between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. Ever since Charlotte won the title from Rhea Ripley, they never had a rematch. They never touched each other. We are building it up so that way we get round 2 at WrestleMania 37. Then we have Brock Lesnar versus Keith Lee one-on-one. In this matchup, Keith Lee is doing everything that he can to beat down Brock Lesnar. He's delivering victory bombs. He's doing everything. Brock Lesnar gets 1 F5. 1, 2. Keith Lee kicks out, and Brock's just thinking, shit. So, referee gets knocked down. Keith Lee hits another spirit bomb. It seems like he's got the win, but with the referee being down, it's like, crap. Keith Lee gets the referee. He's trying to get him revived. Turns around. Brock Lesnar decides, you know what? Let's see how somebody else likes it. Low blows Keith Lee. Hits a second F5. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar defeats Keith Lee on this night. Now we go on to the Men's Royal Rumble, which should be the main event because, let's face it, it's the Royal Rumble. In this matchup, we see almost the same thing take place. First 5 entrants are the NXT people, and Finn Balor is amongst them, and he's meet up with Velveteen Dream as well as Adam Cole, and Balor's just like, wait a minute. And he basically says, don't you see that this is what they want? They want us to fight each other so that way none of us goes to WrestleMania. But if we can stand together, maybe at the end we can fight each other, but eliminate everybody else. So, these men go the distance. They hang on. They beat anybody that gets put in their way. Whether it's, well, the Berg show. Whether it's Mark Henry. Everybody that just gets put in their way, they take them down. Once it hits the 30 entrant, we still see some people getting put in. But it's at this point we do see a little bit of the crack between a lot of the NXT alliance. During this deal, Adam Cole and Finn Balor, they eliminate, say, R-Truth, because why not? It's a funny moment. Adam Cole is kind of celebrating, but Finn Balor throws Adam Cole over the top ropes, and Finn Balor's just like, it happens, man. In the end, yes, Finn Balor wins the Royal Rumble. He has a choice to make, whether he wants to challenge the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, challenge the Universal Champion AJ Styles, or challenge the NXT Champion Tommaso Ciampa. During this time, from Royal Rumble all the way till WrestleMania, we see Keith Lee wanting a rematch with Brock Lesnar. He says, I was this close. I came this close to defeating him. At this point, we cue in Roman Reigns. He comes in, he says, you know, you showed me a lot, kid, but the problem is I just don't think you're ready to fight Brock Lesnar again. Keith Lee is a young pup, and he's just like, really? Well, why don't I show you that I'm ready to do it? So they sign the match, Roman Reigns versus Keith Lee at Elimination Chamber. At this matchup, we see Keith Lee on his A game. He goes the the distance, and he does, in fact, beat Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. We get another nice sign of show respect, and Roman Reigns actually pulls him in. He says, I know you're ready. Don't let me down. He gives him a nice little deal on the chest, and we get to WrestleMania. At that matchup, we have the NXT Championship, in which we see Tommaso Ciampa defending his title against Kevin Owens. Reason why? Because Kevin Owens basically comes down to NXT and he says, I'm going back to my old stomping grounds, but also, Ciampa kind of owes me a little bit. Remember War Games? So, in his way, he feels like he is owed this matchup, and Tommaso Ciampa says, you're going to try to take my Goldie away from me? Good luck. We get the matchup. Tommaso Ciampa retains at WrestleMania. It's a great matchup between the two of them, but Ciampa gets the win. We have the women's tag team titles put on the line. Get ready for some madness, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be a 6-woman gauntlet matchup here, as the Divas of Dooms will be defending against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, or as we like to call it, Nick Cross, Applesauce, whatever the hell it was. Bliss Cross
Applesauce.
Yes, that's right. We have Bliss Cross Applesauce versus Tegan Nox and Mia Yim versus the Iconics versus the new Kabuki Warriors in Kairi Sane and Io Shirai versus the team of Dakota Kai and Bayley. The reason why I have these two together is because they were major fan favorites, and then finally they feel like the fans have turned on them, so they feel like, well, they turned on us. I guess we only have each other. So we have these two as a team, and this also revitalizes the women's tag team division, which seems sorely lacking, but it really isn't. They got the women there. They got the talent there, finally getting that chance. In this matchup, we have Tegan Nox and Mia Yim picking up the victory. They go to NXT. They also get the chance to go to Raw, to SmackDown, to NXT UK, to defend these titles and make them prestigious again. And we still have so many tag teams that they could put in there. Tegan Nox versus Iconics. You could have them fight the new Kabuki Warriors. You could have them fight off against Dakota Kai and Bayley. You have these all mixed up, and you're basically creating almost like a SmackDown 6, but with a tag team division of women. We have the NXT women's title matchup. We have Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, the rematch from this past year's WrestleMania. As to be expected, Rhea Ripley picks up the victory, and she gets her win back. We get the match between Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar once again, but this is the major caveat, is that Triple H is sick and tired of seeing Brock Lesnar go into his brand, go into his house, and basically trying to cripple the thing that he created. And Vince is just like, doesn't feel so good, does it, son? So in this moment, we see Vince McMahon and Triple H reach an agreement that if Triple H wins, he will take control of the company. But if Triple H loses, not only will he have to resign from his corporate office position, but NXT will go under. So it is all on Keith Lee taking on Brock Lesnar. Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar, they have a no-holds-barred match, because in all honesty, a match this personal needs to have that kind of deal. Keith Lee, Brock Lesnar literally just beat each other to bits. We see Brock Lesnar actually break the arm of Keith Lee, but Keith Lee is saying, nuh-uh, I'm not going down like that. He's not quite able to hit the Spirit Bomb, but he's able to beat Brock Lesnar and keep NXT alive. And for Vince McMahon, his final act of defiance on Raw, he says to Brock Lesnar, "You're fired." Which Brock replies, "Oh, really?" Picks him up, F5s him, Vince McMahon is gone. Brock Lesnar, he's fired, he's taken off of TV for a while. In all honesty, now you're going to have an untamed beast that is going to be coming back at SummerSlam. The main event, the Universal Championship matchup between AJ Styles and Finn Balor. Not the Demon Finn, but Finn Balor of NXT, Fergal Devitt. We see these two have the knockdown drag-out match that they had at TLC, and it is just absolutely insane. Referee goes down in that matchup, and it seems like AJ Styles is just about ready to hit the phenomenal forearm. He goes up, but then a hooded figure pulls him down and just starts beating down at him. AJ Styles, he tries to fight back, then another hooded figure comes in. They beat down AJ. They throw him into the ring. We see one of the guys pick up AJ, and we see the other guy bounce off the ropes. Boom! Boot onto AJ Styles. And then we see them reveal themselves. It's the returning Gallows and Anderson. They have returned to join the original leader of the Bullet Club, Finn Balor. Finn Balor says, finish him off. They hit the Magic Killer on AJ Styles. Finn Balor hits the coup de grace, and just for extra insult to injury, he picks him up and he hits AJ Styles with his own finishing move, the Styles Clash, as just a giant middle finger to AJ. Referee comes to 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor, on the main event of WrestleMania, beats AJ Styles. He holds the title that he never lost in the first place, and he is looking to hold on to it for a very long time with his buddies of the club. And that is how I would book an NXT / Invasion / Major Deal. So, that was just insane. That was just absolutely crazy. Fretz, I think we burnt ourselves out in this one.
I'm ashamed of my booking after hearing you and Slacks. I'm ashamed.
Well, hey, I will say this. I do have good news. For all the 3 people that voted on Twitter, you had 100% for the best pallbearer impression against Will. So if that
that's because I voted for myself.
You selfish,
just to be a dick.
You selfish beefy boy. So, like I said, guys, next week will be the debut of the new trio in the Game Changer podcast. It is going to be absolutely insane. Check out Mr. Fretz on his Twitter at the legendary JF. Be sure to check me out on Twitter at RealFNGame. Be sure to also check out Addict_Wrestle for Wrestle Addict Radio. For us at the Game Changer podcast, the Kings of the Rings, as well as Young Lions Perspective. All of us, just thank you guys so much for all the love and support that you give to us, as well as check out our Patreon. And hey, we got merchandise. We know you love it because, well, we created it. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you also enjoyed the interview that I had with SoCal Val, Lisa, as well as Melina. It is something that is just absolutely wonderful to behold. If you are questioning the fact of why I didn't really talk that much, because, well, I feel like they had a lot of catching up to do. I wanted to be the nice guy this time around. So, for all the ladies that were there, thank you so much. For Wrestle Addict Radio, hopefully you enjoyed the episode. And for all the fans, hey, there's more special things to come. I can guarantee you that. Fretz, next week is just going to get even more chaotic.
Oh
no! Don't worry, we're not bringing back Slack. Although I definitely do want to do a Slack segment on the show.
We gotta have and now Slack's Pepsi Blue Big Beefy Thing of the Night. I have to tell you something off air about something, so you're gonna love it.
Oh, nice. Definitely check out a lot of our friends here, guys. Those Wrestling Gals, Movie Men podcast, Ruthless Aggression podcast. Honestly, I have to really look into their stuff because I have not listened to some of their stuff in quite a while. So many other great places, so many other great podcasts. It just is absolutely amazing that, even through this pandemic that we're going through, so many people can still spread so much positivity. And we're going to continue doing that here at Wrestle Addict Radio. We are the cure for everything that is going to shit right now. So for Mr. Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. We will see you guys in the next episode. And just remember, Chef Boyardee, Beefy Boys!
Click, clack.
They say there are tons of wrestling podcasts out there, and you can definitely find one that fits you. Quite frankly, truer words have never been said. Be that as it may,
Please be aware that we here at Wrestle Addict Radio are about to embark on a conscious effort to open the creative envelope, so to speak, in order to entertain you in a more contemporary and much more educated manner. Even though we call ourselves a wrestling podcast network, the keyword in that phrase is wrestling. Wrestling extends far beyond the confines of WWE and AEW, to name a few. Wrestling takes many forms, from the intergender moments going on in Impact Wrestling, to the nostalgia going on in NWA, to the creativity and the hard-hitting explosiveness that occurs over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can clearly see that wrestling is a place for everyone. We at Wrestle Addict Radio feel that you, the wrestling podcast listener, are quite frankly sick and tired of getting your intelligence insulted. We also think that you're tired of a simplistic reasoning of WWE is way too mainstream and AEW is for the marks, just to name a few as an example. We know that you, the wrestling podcast listener, are tired of having your opinions made fun of and ridiculed on big social media platforms like Twitter and Reddit. Surely the idea, reasoning, and lack of logic behind statements such as, "This sucks and I don't like it because I said so," is definitely passé. Therefore, we here at Wrestle Addict Radio have embarked on a far more innovative and contemporary creative campaign that is far more invigorating and extemporaneous than ever before. You see, we are responsible wrestling podcasters that work hard to bring you the outrageous, wacky, and wonderful world known as wrestling. Wrestling is for everyone, no matter what race, creed, gender, sexuality, and anything else that you identify as. Wrestling, if done correctly, is a unifying bond where we can all celebrate and collectively suspend our disbelief, if only for a moment in time, for the sake of enjoying ourselves and the enjoyment of everyone around us. This does not mean that we will always agree. Quite frankly, disagreement is a positive thing. It gives us an avenue and an outlet to learn about someone else's perspective, which might in turn challenge us to rethink our own. As divisive as our community can be at times, we have the power to make a positive change, and we here at Wrestle Addict Radio look forward to becoming the leaders in that change. If this is your first time listening to us, then welcome to a positive wrestling community. If you have listened to us before, then thank you for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is King Ricky Rose, your general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio, the cure for the common wrestling podcast.